Hi there, it's a new day, it's a new dawn, and it's a new deck here on the channel. So, today, the Mimeoplasm, Revered One. X, black, green, and blue for a 0/0 legendary use. But as Mimeoplasm enters, exile up to X creature cards from your graveyard. It enters with 3 +1/+1 counters on it for each creature exiled, each creature card exiled this way. And then you can pay 2, and the Mimeoplasm becomes a copy of target creature card exiled with it, except it's 0/0 and has this ability. Right, so the counters stay on. You can exile big creatures, make an even bigger creature, and then really hopefully hit him for 21 damage. Do we like alpha striking? We do like alpha striking, so that's what we're hopefully going to try and do with a fair bit of support and backup around it as well. So here we go. Here's what today's deck looks like here on Rekmar Gaming. So, unsurprisingly, because it's a green creature, we have ramp to start with, including Elves of Deep Shadow. Even though there's a damage to, it does give you the black mana you may need. Then we've got the Mystic, the Fire Nord, and the Lanois Elves to help us with that ramp side of things entirely. Stitcher's Supply comes next, so we can start milling things into our graveyard and hope we mill in creatures that are good. Bloom Tenderer helps us get that mana on the go. And then the Cruel Sommelphage, we can mill 4, that's fine for 2 mana and put it into exile. And then when it comes into play, it has power and toughness equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. So yeah, have quite a big body. Deranged Assistant is next. We get to put the top card of our library into our graveyard and add 1 to our mana pool, so more ramp. Gaia Sage comes in, get a load of green mana. We should be able to evolve this quite happily, assuming we haven't milled it away with the Mimeoplasm anyway, but yeah. Nazri, Searcher in the Dark. Deals combat damage, mill that many cards, put any number of legendary creatures or enchantments into your hand, and if no cards were put in our hand this way, we get to put a +1/+1 counter on Nazri. It's got menace, it's hard to get around, it's a nice card to hit to mill away with Mimeoplasm, because then that gives Mimo menace as well, so a little bit harder to block. Skull Prophet for more ramp and the ability to mill 2 cards if we need to. The Ancient One is the next one that comes in. Can't attack or block unless there's 8 permanent cards in our graveyard. But we can do 2 blue and black to draw and discard. And then when we discard a card that way, target player mills cards equal to its mana value. So we can mill ourselves with the Ancient One. Okay, like that plan. Old Rustin comes in as well. It gets to do a bit of milling at the beginning of our each upkeep. Land gives us a treasure. A creature gives us an insect. And if it's a non-creature, non-land, we get a blood token. Okay. Rexage just for a little bit of controlling of enchantments and artifacts. 6 comes in as well because we like milling with him when they attack, or it or them. And then we get to put a land from our hand onto the battlefield. And as long as it's your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have retrace. So it gives us a way of casting things out of our graveyard if we need to by discarding a land. Not the worst plan in the world. Tribute of Rot is next, coming in from the Clue set of all places. It attacks, we mill 2 cards, and then for each creature that gets milled this way, we get sap rolling. Ursine Monstrosity is the next one, coming in from, I think it's the Duskmourn Precon decks. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill a card, then choose an opponent at random. Ursine Monstrosity attacks that player this combat if able, and until the end of the turn, it gets indestructible and gets +1/+1 for each card among cards in your graveyard. For each card type, sorry, amongst cards in your graveyard. So land, instant, sorcery, enchantment, artifact, etc. That's quite nice. Zerix, Sanity Flare coming in. We get to, when people mill things, we get horrors, and then we get to have a target player mill 3 cards. The Mind Rack Demon enters the battlefield. We mill the top 4 basically, and at the beginning of our upkeep, you lose 4 life unless there are 4 more card types amongst those cards in your graveyard. Bit risky, but a 4/5 flyer with trample for 4 mana, you can live with it for a little while. Rashmi, Eternity's Crafted, just so we can get some free spell cards off the top if we can. Sidisi Brew Tyrant gives us zombies when it enters or attacks, and creature cards hit our graveyard. From our library, we get to do the zombie tricks. Winter, Cynical Opportunist comes in, again from Duskmourn Commander decks. When it attacks, we mill 3, and then at the beginning of your end step, you may exile any number of cards from your graveyard if you've got Delirium, by the way, with 4 or more card types amongst them. If you do, put a permanent card from among them onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Okay. World Shaper, mill 3. When it attacks, you get to put mill 3. And then when it dies, all your lands come from your graveyard back into the battlefield, tapped. Overlord of the Bale Marks also in mill 4. Return a non-avatar or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. We are looking at milling creatures, so Sir Conrad's here. If a creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, okay then. The original Mimeoplasm's in as well, just do the exiling cards for anyone's graveyard. That's fine. Blight Titan gives us a nice big 6/6 death touch of 6 mana that when it enters and attacks it mills 2 and then incubates. That's cool. The Dreadhound also does a milling thing, so whenever a creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from a library, each opponent loses 1 life. Yep, like that. Izazu, the Thousand Eyes, also comes in to give us a whole load of insects for each creature card in our graveyard. Hopefully we haven't exiled more with the Mimeoplasm, the Revered One, when we play this. Luma, Bellow of the Woods, is also in as well, so we get all our lovely mill 4 and then return all land cards from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And then finally, just to make sure we've got ways of casting things from our graveyard, Muldrotha takes the last one of the creature slots to help us out. 2 planeswalkers that help us do the milling thing. Grist, the Hunger Tide. Create a 1/1 black insect for the +1 and mill a card. And then repeat it if it was an insect milled this way. Not going to happen, but hey, it gives us a mill for 1/1. The -5 is quite nice as well. Each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Does give you a way to finish the game off. And Liliana, Death's Majesty, we get to mill 2 cards and have a zombie. I'll cope with that plan. Spells wise, mainly mill stuff. Smuggler's Surprise starts the game off. And then we have the Cash Grab, we have Corpse Churn. I mean, they all do the same thing. Mill cards, return things to our hand. Fast Seek gives us some ramp. Grapple with the Past lets us mill, and then we get a land or a creature back. Grave Strength is also in. Choose star creature card. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each creature in your graveyard. Nice way of growing your creatures up. Life from the Loam, just for the dredge ability to return the lands from our graveyard to our hand if we need to. Nature's Law, 3 visits for the ramp. Wasteful Harvest, mill 5, put a permanent card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. Okay. Sudden Reclamation does the top 4 cards of our library into our graveyard, then we get to return a creature and a land card from our graveyard to our hand. Extract the Darkness. Each player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard and then put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Great way of nicking someone else's creatures, especially if they've managed to scry something to the top. Summon Undead. Mill 3, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yep. And the big boy. Breach the Multiverse. Each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose one. You know what it does. Fantastic spell, love this entirely. Artifacts are quite good fun. We have Ghoul Caller's Bell, so everyone gets to mill 1 and I'll tap. Then we've got the Boots to give the Mimeoplasm haste and award 1. Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Emerald Medallion, Jet Medallion for some ramp. Lightning Greaves again to give haste and shrouds to the Mimeoplasm if we need it to. Mesmeric Orb, when everyone untaps they all mill things. Yeah, okay, that helps us mill our graveyard. Live with this. Sapphire Medallion for more ramp. Swift Boots to protect our wonderful Mimeoplasm. Then each of the talismans of the correct colours. So blue, green, black, blue, and black, green. Trailblazer's Boots give us, well, a nice way of getting this on the Mimeoplasm, because how many people do you know who don't play at least one non-basic land in their commander decks nowadays? If you get an Alpha Strike, it's either this or the Cloak, so it can't be blocked. The Cloak's slightly better because it does have Shrouds, so it does protect the Mimeoplasm a little bit more, so bear that in mind. The final artifact, also everyone helps mill. At the beginning, Worry Beads. Coming back from Marcadian Masks, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player puts the top card of his or her library into their graveyard. Okay, that includes yourself, so you mill a little bit, but everyone else gets to mill as well, so yay. Enchantment, there's only one, Deadbridge Chant. Mill the top 10 cards of our library and then get a creature back at random. If it's a creature, it goes onto the battlefield. Oh, sorry, card back at random. If it's a creature, it goes on the battlefield. If it's anything else, it goes in our hand. Lands, 35 of them. All the blue, black and green lands you can think of would be here. I am playing Field of the Dead for the first time in a while because we are playing 3 colours and it makes it easier to hit the 7 different types if you've got 3 colours to get those zombies when you play a land. Beyond that, there's nothing really major in here. We aren't playing Reliquary Tower, you'll be surprised to know. Well, not really, because you want to be discarding things if you have to. And we aren't playing Temple of the False Gods, so I decided to have a break from it. But everything else is pretty much what you would expect to see in a deck like this as I just scroll up through them very happily. And that's it. That's my take on the Mimeoplasm for the 3rd deck this week. If there's anything you think I've missed, let me know down below. I'm sure there are a few more expensive creatures like Sheldred could be in the deck. There's a couple others I can think of off the top of my head that could be here, but I've left them out for the time being. But if you think there's one I should substitute, let me know in the comments down below. I'd really appreciate it if you could. As you've probably worked out by now, I've been doing a whole load of bulk video recording, so hence I'm going to say the same thing as always. Please hit the subscribe button if you can. There's 613 as I record this. The more the merrier here on the YouTube channel. And if you want to see me play Mimeoplasm Revered One on stream, there's a link down below to Twitch as well, so you can come and see me play it over there when I stream this week. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. One more Ether Drift deck to go tomorrow to finish the week off, so come back tomorrow and see tomorrow's deck. But for now, thanks for watching, take care, see you later, bye bye.